Kara's fingers trembled as she pored over the ancient, dust-covered records. The faded script detailed the existence of a legendary human warship, a symbol of a bygone era of strength and independence. Her heart raced with a mixture of hope and trepidation. If the stories were true, this could be the key to reclaiming humanity's rightful place in the galaxy. Yet, the knowledge came with grave risks. The Galactic Council had long sought to suppress any remnants of human power and self-determination, fearing the prospect of a unified, technologically advanced human civilization that could challenge their hegemony. Kara knew that uncovering this warship would paint a massive target on her back and those of her fellow colonists. Still, the potential rewards outweighed the dangers. If the humans could harness the power of this ancient vessel, they could finally break free from the shackles of oppression and demand the autonomy and representation they deserved within the Council. Kara's mind whirred with the possibilities. No longer would her people be at the mercy of the Council's whims, forced to toil in the resource-rich colonies while the ruling alien races reaped the rewards. With a renewed sense of purpose, Kara began piecing together a plan. She would need to assemble a team of the most skilled and daring individuals she could trust. Engineers, scientists, and tacticians who shared her vision of a liberated humanity. Together, they would embark on a covert mission to uncover the hidden warship and prepare it for a confrontation that could change the course of history. Kara's first stop was the workshop of her old friend, Jax, a brilliant but eccentric engineer known for his ability to work miracles with even the most antiquated technology. Jax had long been a vocal critic of the Galactic Council's treatment of the human colonies, and Kara knew he would be the perfect addition to her team. "Jax, I need your help," Kara said, her voice brimming with urgency as she laid out her discovery and the plan that had taken shape in her mind. Jax's eyes widened, a grin spreading across his weathered face. Finally, a chance to stick it to those pompous council buffoons, he growled, already reaching for his tools. "When do we leave?" Next, Kara sought out Rhea, a former military tactician who had been dishonorably discharged for her outspoken criticism of the Council's colonial policies. Kara knew Rhea's strategic brilliance, and her intimate understanding of the Council's military might would be crucial to the success of their mission. "You want to dig up an ancient warship and take on the Galactic Council," Rhea said, her eyebrows arching skeptically. "I'm listening." As Kara laid out the details, Rhea's expression shifted from one of doubt to steely determination. "Count me in," she said, a glint of vengeance in her eyes. "It's time we showed those bastards what humanity is really capable of." With Jax and Rhea on board, Kara set out to recruit the rest of her team, a diverse group of specialists who would bring a range of crucial skills to the table. Each member, bound by a shared sense of injustice and a burning desire for freedom, pledged their loyalty to the cause, their eyes alight with the promise of a future where humans were no longer treated as second-class citizens in the grand galactic order. As they made their final preparations, Kara couldn't help but feel a pang of trepidation. The road ahead would be fraught with danger, and the stakes had never been higher. But with her trusted team by her side, she was ready to take on the Galactic Council and reclaim humanity's rightful place in the stars. The journey to the remote planet where the ancient warship lay hidden was a treacherous one. Kara and her team navigated through dense asteroid fields, narrowly dodging deadly debris that threatened to tear their small craft apart. The ever-present threat of Galactic Council patrols loomed over them, forcing the team to take convoluted, winding routes to avoid detection. "We're running low on fuel and supplies," Jax reported grimly. His brow furrowed in concentration as he piloted their ship through a particularly perilous section of space. "At this rate, we may not have enough to make it back, even if we find the damn warship." Rhea's jaw tightened. "Then we'll just have to make sure we do find it, won't we?" she said, her voice laced with determination. "Humanity's future is riding on this mission. We can't afford to fail." Kara nodded, her mind racing with contingency plans. "Jax, see if you can rig up some kind of long-range scanner to give us a better idea of what we're up against." Rhea, I need you to map out the most direct route to the planet's surface, avoiding any areas that might be patrolled by the Council. As the team sprang into action, Kara couldn't help but feel the weight of their responsibility. The fate of the human colonies rested on their shoulders, and the slightest misstep could mean the difference between triumph and utter annihilation. After days of grueling travel and nerve-wracking evasion, the team finally caught sight of the uncharted planet where the warship was rumored to be hidden. Kara's heart pounded in her chest as they descended through the thick, swirling atmosphere, their instruments barely able to penetrate the dense cloud cover. "There," Jax suddenly exclaimed, his voice tinged with awe. "I'm picking up a massive energy signature, just as the records described." Kara leaned forward, her eyes straining to catch a glimpse of the legendary vessel. As the clouds parted, she gasped, her breath catching in her throat. Nestled in a rugged, heavily forested valley was an enormous, sleek-hulled warship, its once gleaming hull now weathered and overgrown, but no less imposing. "By the stars," Rhea breathed, her fingers gripping the edge of her seat. "It's even more incredible than the stories." Kara felt a surge of hope and trepidation coursing through her veins. They had found the warship, but now came the true test. Could they unlock its secrets and harness its power before the Galactic Council caught wind of their discovery? "All right, team," Kara said, her voice steady despite the turmoil of emotions within. "Let's get to work. We've come too far to turn back now." With renewed determination, the team began the perilous descent towards the hidden warship, their hearts pounding with the weight of their mission. They had uncovered the key to humanity's liberation, but the true battle had only just begun. News of the warship's discovery spread like wildfire through the human colonies, igniting a surge of hope and defiance that the Galactic Council had long sought to extinguish. Kara and her team found themselves at the center of a growing resistance movement, their once covert mission now the rallying cry for an entire people yearning to break free from the shackles of oppression. "Can you believe it?" a young colonist named Lena exclaimed, her eyes shining with excitement as she addressed a crowd of her peers. "After generations of being trampled on by the Council, we finally have a chance to stand up and fight back." The crowd erupted in cheers, fists pumping the air with a newfound sense of purpose. Kara watched from the sidelines, a bittersweet smile on her face. She knew all too well the risks they were facing, but the determination in the eyes of her fellow colonists was undeniable. "The Council won't just let us waltz in and take back what's ours," Rhea said grimly, sidling up to Kara. "They'll come down on us with everything they've got." Kara nodded, her jaw set with resolve. "Then we'll have to be ready for them," she replied, her mind already whirring with plans and contingencies. It didn't take long for the Galactic Council to catch wind of the humans' discovery. Alarmed by the prospect of a resurgent human power that could challenge their dominance, they swiftly mobilized their elite forces, dispatching a massive armada to the remote planet where the warship lay hidden. "They're coming," Jax reported, his face etched with grim determination as he studied the scans of the approaching fleet. "And they're not holding back." Kara took a deep breath, her hands clenching into fists at her sides. "Then we'll have to hit them with everything we've got," she said, her voice steely and unwavering. "Jax, prep the warship's systems for battle. Rhea, gather the best of our fighter pilots and have them ready to launch the moment the Council forces arrive." As the Council's armada drew nearer, the human colonists braced themselves for the confrontation that would decide the fate of their people. Kara stood at the forefront, her eyes fixed on the distant horizon, where the first hint of the enemy's approach had begun to materialize. "This is it," she murmured, more to herself than to her companions. "The moment we've been waiting for." Rhea placed a reassuring hand on Kara's shoulder, a subtle nod of understanding passing between them. They both knew the stakes were higher than ever, but there was no turning back now. As the Council's ships emerged from the darkness, their massive frames casting ominous shadows over the planet's surface, Kara steeled herself for the battle to come. With the ancient warship at their command and the unwavering determination of her fellow colonists, she was ready to show the Galactic Council the true power of humanity. As the Galactic Council's armada bore down on the human colony, Kara and her team sprang into action, unleashing the full might of the ancient warship against their oppressors. The vessel's advanced weapon systems, long dormant and forgotten, roared to life, unleashing a devastating barrage of energy beams and missiles that tore through the enemy's ranks with ease. Jax's fingers danced across the warship's intricate control panels, his eyes narrowed in concentration as he deftly maneuvered the massive craft, anticipating the Council's maneuvers and exploiting their weaknesses. Beside him, Rhea coordinated the human fighter pilots, their nimble, agile ships weaving through the chaos of the battle, harassing the Council's lumbering capital ships and providing vital support to the warship's onslaught. "They're not expecting this kind of firepower," Rhea shouted, a grin tugging at the corner of her lips as she watched the Council's vessels falter and retreat under the onslaught. "We're giving them a taste of their own medicine." Kara stood at the heart of the warship's command center, her eyes fixed on the unfolding battle with a mixture of awe and determination. The ancient vessel responded to her commands with a fluidity and grace that belied its hulking appearance, its systems seemingly attuned to the very rhythm of her thoughts. "Keep the pressure on," she ordered, her voice cutting through the chaos. "We can't let them regroup." As the battle raged on, the human colonists watched from the surface, their cheers and cries of triumph echoing across the planet's rugged terrain. For years, they had been forced to endure the Council's oppressive rule, their dreams of freedom and self-determination crushed under the weight of alien domination. But now, with the power of the ancient warship at their command, they were finally striking back, reclaiming their rightful place in the galaxy. The Council's forces, once confident in their overwhelming technological and numerical superiority, found themselves outmaneuvered and outgunned by the human team's mastery of the warship's systems. One by one, their vessels succumbed to the relentless onslaught, their once proud crews forced to retreat in the face of this unexpected, devastating display of human might. As the battle reached its climax, Kara watched with a sense of grim satisfaction as the last of the Council's ships turned tail and fled, their once formidable armada reduced to a tattered remnant. She knew that this was only the beginning, that the Council would not take this defeat lightly. But for now, the humans had emerged victorious, a testament to the indomitable spirit and ingenuity of their people. "We did it," Kara breathed, her voice thick with emotion as she turned to face her team, her comrades in arms. "We've shown the Galactic Council that humanity is a force to be reckoned with." The cheers of the colonists echoed across the planet, their voices united in a triumphant cry that rang out through the stars, a defiant challenge to the established order that had sought to keep them down for so long. The news of the human colony's stunning victory against the Galactic Council's elite forces spread like wildfire through the galaxy, igniting a surge of hope and defiance among the long-oppressed human settlements. Kara and her team, once reluctant leaders of the resistance, now found themselves at the center of a growing movement that demanded the Council recognize humanity's rightful place as equal partners in the galactic community. Yet the Council, shaken by the display of human technological prowess and strategic brilliance, remained determined to maintain its grip on the colonies. Behind closed doors, the ruling alien factions convened, their once confident facade crumbling as they grappled with the implications of this unexpected shift in the balance of power. "This cannot be allowed to stand," hissed Vorax, a high-ranking counselor whose family had long profited from the exploitation of human resources. "The humans have grown too bold, too dangerous. We must crush this rebellion before it spreads further." But others, sensing the changing tides, urged caution. To do so would only serve to strengthen their resolve and unite the colonies against us, warned Tullia, a pragmatic counselor known for her diplomatic acumen. "We must tread carefully, lest we risk igniting an all-out war that could tear the Council apart." Kara and her team, cognizant of the delicate political landscape they now navigated, approached the negotiations with a mixture of trepidation and determination. They knew that the fate of their people hung in the balance, and any misstep could lead to catastrophic consequences. "We can't let our guard down for a single moment," Rhea murmured to Kara as they prepared to face the Council's representatives. "These aliens have been playing this game for centuries. They'll use every trick in the book to try and outmaneuver us." Kara nodded, her eyes narrowing with resolve. "Then we'll have to be smarter, faster, and more relentless than they ever imagined," she replied, her voice laced with a confidence that belied the turmoil within. As the negotiations commenced, Kara and her team found themselves navigating a complex web of political posturing, veiled threats, and carefully crafted concessions. The Council, recognizing the need to appease the humans to maintain stability, offered a series of concessions: greater autonomy for the colonies, increased representation within the Council, and a promise of fairer distribution of resources. But Kara and her team knew better than to trust the Council's goodwill. They had seen firsthand the lengths the ruling alien factions would go to preserve their power, and they were determined to secure a deal that truly empowered the human colonies. "They're trying to placate us, to make us think we've won," Jax muttered, his brow furrowed in concentration as he pored over the Council's proposed terms. "But I can see the strings they've hidden beneath the surface." Rhea's eyes narrowed. "Then we'll have to cut those strings, one by one," she replied, a gleam of determination in her gaze. "The future of our people depends on it." As the negotiations reached a critical juncture, Kara and her team steeled themselves for the battles to come, knowing that the true test of their resolve had only just begun. As the tense negotiations with the Galactic Council wore on, Kara and her team began to uncover a deeper, more sinister web of deceit and manipulation that extended to the very heart of the Council's power structure. Their investigations, conducted with the utmost secrecy and caution, revealed a sprawling network of corporate interests and political elites who were exploiting the human colonies for their own gain. "It's not just the Council itself that's against us," Jax grimly informed the team, his fingers flying across the holo displays as he sifted through the reams of data they had painstakingly gathered. "There are powerful corporate entities, some of the biggest names in the galaxy, who have been systematically robbing our people blind." Rhea's expression darkened, her fists clenching with fury. "I knew they couldn't be trusted," she growled. "The Council may be the public face of our oppression, but these corporate vultures are the real puppet masters." Kara felt a sinking feeling in the pit of her stomach as the magnitude of the betrayal they had uncovered began to sink in. The human colonies had long been viewed as little more than resources to be exploited, their wealth and potential siphoned off to line the pockets of the galactic elite. "We have to expose this," she said, her voice steely with determination. "The Council may be willing to negotiate, but these corporate interests won't give up their stranglehold on us without a fight." Jax and Rhea nodded in agreement, their faces set with grim resolve. Together, they began to formulate a plan, a daring infiltration of the Council's inner sanctum, where they would confront the powerful forces behind the scenes and bring their scheme to light. The mission was fraught with peril, for the team knew that the corporate entities they sought to expose wielded immense influence and were not above resorting to underhanded tactics to protect their interests. But with the fate of their people hanging in the balance, they were determined to risk everything to uncover the truth. As they made their final preparations, Kara couldn't help but feel a sense of trepidation. The stakes had never been higher, and the odds seemed stacked against them. But with the ancient warship under their command and the unwavering support of the human colonies, she knew that they had a chance to finally break the cycle of oppression and reclaim their rightful place in the galaxy. "This is it, team," Kara said, her gaze sweeping across the faces of her companions. "Everything we've done so far has led us to this moment. Let's show the Council and their corporate puppets the true power of humanity." With a renewed sense of purpose, the team set out on their dangerous mission, their hearts filled with a mixture of fear and determination. The fate of their people hung in the balance, and they were prepared to risk it all to ensure a future where the human colonies could stand tall, no longer beholden to the whims of their oppressors. The revelations uncovered by Kara and her team rocked the Galactic Council to its very core, exposing the deep-seated corruption and cronyism that had long defined the ruling power structure. Faced with undeniable evidence of the systemic exploitation and marginalization of the human colonies, the Council was forced to confront the ugly truths that had been hidden in plain sight for generations. Vorax and his corporate allies, once confident in their ability to manipulate the proceedings, found themselves on the defensive, their carefully constructed web of deceit unraveling before their eyes. As Kara and her team presented their findings to the Council in a dramatic and public confrontation, the sheer scale of the betrayal became impossible to ignore. "You've had your boot on the neck of our people for far too long," Kara declared, her voice ringing with righteous indignation as she stared down the Council's representatives. "The time has come for us to take our rightful place as equals, not as subjects to be exploited for your own gain." Talia, the pragmatic counselor who had previously urged caution, found herself swayed by the overwhelming evidence presented by Kara's team. With a growing sense of unease, she realized that the Council's long-held grip on power had been built upon a foundation of lies and greed. "We cannot ignore these revelations," Talia proclaimed, her voice carrying through the hushed chamber. "The human colonies have been subjected to a grave injustice, one that we must now rectify if the Galactic Council is to retain any semblance of credibility and legitimacy." Vorax and his allies, their faces twisted with fury, attempted to shut down Talia and discredit Kara's team, but their protests were drowned out by the thunderous applause of the human spectators who had gathered to witness the proceedings. The tides had turned, and the Council could no longer ignore the cries for change that were echoing across the galaxy. Faced with the overwhelming evidence and the growing pressure from their own constituents, the Council had little choice but to concede to the demands of the human colonies. Sweeping concessions were made, granting the colonists greater autonomy, increased representation within the Council, and a fairer distribution of resources and technological development. Kara and her team, once reluctant leaders of the resistance, now found themselves hailed as heroes, their actions paving the way for a new era of cooperation and respect between humans and the Galactic Council. The ancient warship, a symbol of humanity's long-forgotten power, remained in the hands of the colonists, a testament to their resilience and a deterrent against any future attempts at oppression. As the negotiations drew to a close, Kara stood tall, her gaze sweeping across the faces of her fellow colonists. The future they had fought for was finally within reach, and she knew that their journey was far from over. But for now, they had won a hard-fought victory, one that would echo through the stars for generations to come. In the aftermath of the Galactic Council's historic concessions, the human colonies began to flourish, empowered by their newfound autonomy and the technological might of the ancient warship. Kara and her team, once reluctant leaders of the resistance, now found themselves at the forefront of a bold new era, tasked with steering their people towards a future of prosperity and self-determination. With the resources and freedom to pursue their own technological advancements, the human colonies rapidly closed the gap that had long separated them from the more established alien civilizations. Jax, the brilliant engineer, oversaw the painstaking restoration and modernization of the warship, unlocking its full potential and transforming it into a symbol of human ingenuity and resilience. "This vessel is the key to our future," Jax proclaimed, his eyes gleaming with pride as he guided Kara through the warship's intricate systems. "With its power at our command, we can forge our own path, no longer beholden to the whims of the Council." Rhea, the former military tactician, took on the role of training a new generation of human pilots and strategists, ensuring that the colonies would be prepared to defend their hard-won freedoms against any future threats. Under her guidance, the human fighter squadrons honed their skills, mastering the subtleties of interstellar combat and forging a reputation as formidable adversaries. "We've tasted victory once before," Rhea said, her voice grave but resolute, "and we'll be damned if we let anyone take that away from us again." As the human colonies continued to flourish, Kara found herself at the forefront of a new diplomatic endeavor, tasked with bridging the gap between her people and the Galactic Council. With a keen understanding of the political landscape and a natural charisma, she navigated the treacherous waters of interstellar politics, fostering a new era of mutual understanding and cooperation. The Council has finally recognized the value of our contribution to the greater galactic community, Kara told the assembled leaders of the human colonies. But we must continue to stand firm, to show them that we are equals, not subservients to be exploited. Under Kara's visionary leadership, the human colonies forged new alliances and trade agreements, leveraging their technological prowess and rich resources to cement their position as vital partners within the Galactic Council. The ancient warship, once a symbol of a forgotten past, now stood as a beacon of hope and power, a testament to the indomitable spirit of the human race. As the years passed, the legacy of Kara and her team echoed through the stars, their deeds celebrated in the annals of history. The human colonies, once marginalized and oppressed, now stood tall, their voices heard and their contributions recognized by the entire galactic community. "We've come a long way," Kara mused, her gaze fixed on the distant horizon, as she contemplated the future. "But our journey is far from over. The stars are ours to conquer, and we'll do it on our own terms." With renewed determination, Kara and her people set their sights on the vast expanse of the galaxy, ready to forge a new destiny for humanity, one that would inspire generations to come.